everybody. So, how are y'all feeling this morning? All of you that I left out there on the streets, I was like, yeah, they may or may not make it tomorrow morning. Where's Victor, by the way? Is he taking his nap now? I see you. He's here. All right, good deal. So, how many of you have gone out there and jumped into some situation and then were kind of surprised about how that situation? You were like, oh, wait a minute, this is not what I thought I was getting into. Yeah. So, I had this same kind of revelation too as I had jumped into the deep end of a swimming pool at the hotel, and I came back up, surfaced, and then I realized, I was like, wait, I'm not being able to tread water. I'm just kind of sinking here. Not because I can't swim, by the way. Let me tell you guys, I can swim. But I have to back up just a little bit and tell you that I was in a full formal with high heels when I jumped into this swimming pool. I was at the theater banquet in college, and I was like, man, that swimming pool looks great out there. I'm going to go jump in that. And my roommate was like, yeah, me too. And our dates were like, we're not. No. And I was like, well, I'm going to. Now, it could have been the kamikazes talking. I don't know. But anyway, I just jumped right on out there and jumped in. But I realized very quickly that this is not the appropriate swimwear that I had on. And so I had to accept the change there that was going on and adapt, right? So I had to adapt for this. And so I took off my high heels, threw them over on the edge, and hey, I was able to keep my head above water. I didn't drown that night because it would have been a real shame to die in a swimming pool in a formal gown, I thought. I mean, really, this would not be cool. Yeah, but it would be stylish, that's true. It would be. So anyway, we always are faced with changes, right? So we just have to expect it and not be surprised when it happens, right? We all know that sometimes we do get surprised, but why? Because change is inevitable, right? I mean, change is probably the only consistent thing we know, right? So why are we surprised? We should not be surprised when this happens. We, especially in this room, we shouldn't be surprised at all, right? We know all about change, right? If you're in any kind of software, you know all about change, right? New version comes out, it's a change. Something's got to change, or I've got to adapt something. Could be a little thing, right? Like we may just have a 3.91 to a 3.92. Easy, right? Click OK, you're probably done. Maybe there's something, but probably you're done. Or we could have a 1.5 to 2.5 kind of thing, right? I mean, it could happen. And so we have to not be surprised when those things happen, because we don't want change to defeat us, right? We don't want change to bring us down. We need to be like, yeah, we're going to expect change. If it happens, it's okay. I can handle it. And, when that happened, so I had done a client's website the year before. I didn't think it had been a full year. We'd done a client website. And then when we realized, ooh, this is not going to be, especially for that site, it was not going to be an easy thing. It was not an upgrade. I was like, and then they were paying for upgrade services, right? But I was like, this is actually migration. And I was like, God, I've got to go to this client, and I've got to go tell this client, hey, it's going to cost more. I've got to migrate your site. And I was really like a little nervous about doing it. I was like, God, I'm going to really make this guy angry. And he was the first one I went and talked to about this, because obviously there were other clients that I needed to have that same discussion with. But I went to go see him, and we sat down, and I was like, explaining what was going on, and he just kind of stopped me, and he said, Robbie, he said, last year when y'all came in and you did this website for us, and it was a portal website, but he said, when y'all did this portal website for us, we were on a CMS. It was a hosted CMS. We paid $150,000 licensing a year. He said, you replaced our website at a very, very decent rate, and he said, and it did more than what we could do on our other one. It was more customizable. He said, so if you're telling me we need to pay you to migrate to the latest, fantastic. What's the latest guide in it? I mean, and it really just made me think about it. I was like, why was I worried about this? We all know change is going to happen, right? We should be prepared for it, and we should just look for the good in it. So, and I was like, wow, yeah, okay. That was good, and it gave me the confidence then when I went and talked to the other clients. And you know what? No one had a problem with it. No one had a problem with it. Even my smallest clients, that budget is a real concern, had no problems with it. And so, you need to just accept it. And so, just think about it, accept it, and it'll be okay. And, well, hang on. I don't want to spoil this. So you might not know it looking at me, But I was in junior ROTC. Yeah, I know. It boggles the mind, right? But, by the way, I was also in theater, so go figure. I was kind of a walking contradiction. So I was in junior ROTC, and I got signed up for this like basic training. Now, mind you, we're students, right? So it's not like they're not going to kill us. It just kind of feels like it. They were yelling and screaming at us, just like we were in the Army. But again, by now, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, right? So I'm going into this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I got this. Even though, by the way, I just wanted to cry when they made us get up at 5 a.m. and run for miles and miles. I was just like, I'm not good at this. But one night they said, okay, you all need to get dressed again, and we're taking you out, and we're doing this contest. And it's a little team building contest. I don't know what they would call it. And they said, we're going to take you out, and we're going to drop you off in groups of 5. And we're going to give you an azimuth, which is a direction, so like where we need to end up, right? And so they said, we're going to give you this, and we're going to let you figure out how you're going to get there. We're going to let you figure out amongst yourselves who's doing what on the team. And, oh, by the way, we're going to be out there, and we're going to have guns, and we're going to try and, kill you before you get to the point. And I was like, wait a minute. And they're like, no, it's paintball. I was like, okay, all right. Although those hurt, by the way. And they said if one team member gets shot, you're out of there. Your team is out of the contest. I was like, okay, all right. And they're like, whoa, yeah. And one more thing. This we were in Camp Bullis, which is in San Antonio, and it was hot. It was middle of summer, it was like 110 degrees. It was so hot. Scrubby brush.
Mm-hmm. Make you realize my crops melted walking on the street in San Antonio.
Yeah, it's hot. It's very hot, right? And we were out in a little scrubby brush kind of land, and they were like, these grounds used to be testing for landmines, and they said, now we've deactivated them all, we think, but if you see anything that's like metal and shiny, try to avoid it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, surely we're students. They're just trying to scare us. They surely can't do this, but I don't know. And they're like, oh, one more thing. I was like, oh no, what else? What else could there be? And they're like, during the summer, that's the most active time for snakes, so be careful of snakes. I'm terrified, as Justine will tell you, I am terrified of snakes. I will tell people a grass snake can kill me, I'll have a heart attack. But I was like, okay, I can do this. I can still do this. I got it. So they dropped us off. The 5 of us are there. It's me and 4 guys. And so we're like, well, who's going to be team lead on this? And the guys are like, well, I did this and repelling, I did this and whatever. And I said, how about, before we decide that, how about we figure out where we're going to be going? Let's get out the map and let's figure out where we are. We have the azimuth. They got real quiet. And I realized, I think I was the only one who paid attention in orienteering. I was the only one who knew how to shoot an azimuth. And I was like, okay, first we're going to figure out where we're going. So I shot the azimuth on the map so we would know where we were going. And then so they were like, okay. So now I could tell they were like looking at me. So I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a single line kind of thing here because we have to kind of go from bush to bush so we don't, we can hide and not be hit by the guys. And I said, so we need somebody up front who's going to be looking, looking for the guys. And look at somebody in the back too that's looking for the guys. I said, and then why don't you also get up front and you look for shiny metal objects on the floor. And you get up front and you look for slithery things. And I'll be right here with the map. And so we take off. And sure enough, there were times the little guy at the front was signaling to us. And so we all hiding underneath the bushes. We must just look ridiculous. Because, by the way, this is what I looked like in my mind. This was me out there. But this was probably really what it looked like. I'm just saying. For real. And so and I do have to tell you, I lived through a snake underneath a bush, waiting to see whenever they say it's clear for us to go, and a snake ran across my hand. Now, it was like teeny icy, like this big probably, but it scared me. But I did not die, so my theory was wrong that a grass snake could kill me. I don't know what it was, but it didn't kill me. I didn't have a heart attack. So anyway, so we made it on, and by the way, we came in first. So, we were scared. I didn't know what to expect out there. They really scared me with all those surprises that we could have. But I just accepted it and went on about myself. And you know what? Just like Private Benjamin. She made it too, right? If you've seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, you should watch it. Some of you are in here are way too young. Probably you haven't seen the movie, but you should go back and watch the movie because it's really, really funny. She does a great job in there. Also, I'm a big fan. So those were all younger stories, right? But Well, except for the Juma one, but otherwise, they were younger stories. As I got older, you all look for answers and stuff. Wayne Dyer was a source for me. I loved Wayne Dyer. I loved to see him speak. I loved to read his books. Yeah, fantastic man, very positive man. In his book, Excuses Be Gone, he's talking about, don't stop yourself from doing things by making excuses, right? So I could have very easily, with the Joomla thing, I could have said, I'm just not going to go talk to that client. I'll eat the cost. I'm just going to do this, whatever, But he said, here's the thing. If you're not 100, and by the way, this is not an exact quote, obviously, I'm paraphrasing here, but if you're not 100% certain that the outcome is going to be negative, like you're not 100%, like you can't say for sure that there's no way something is going to work out. And by the way, this applies in your life, your business, your relationships, whatever. If you're not 100% sure, if there's like this 1% or 0.5%, then focus on that, right? Don't focus on the negative. Let's say you think it's 5%. 5% might be that client's not going to be mad at me. 95% probably so, but there's a 5% chance that they won't be mad at me. Focus on that. Because you got to make it through anyway, right? So focus on the positive, whatever that little bit of nugget is. And by the way, just kind of circling back on that client, not only was he so kind to say, sure, we don't mind paying for this, but then he said, Robbie, there's also some other things that one of their departments wanted added in there and said, well, you're doing the migration costs, why don't you just go ahead and add all those things in there too? So it made money, right? I mean, it turned out to be a positive thing. I wasn't 100% sure that it was going to be positive, but it was. It turned out that way, right? So I'd like you to keep that in mind, that if there's a glimmer, focus on that part of the chances. Focus on the positive part of the chances. And just embrace it, right? Embrace it and look for the positive in there. We had I've been in business for over 16 years now. So when we first started, we were doing Flash websites with Flash video. Who remembers that? Again, I'm dating you all. Yeah. Oh my God, I love Flash. They have a warm place in my heart. I love Flash websites. I loved Flash video. It was fantastic. So creative. And so it was fun. About the second year in our business, I sold a website. It was the biggest website I'd sold to date, and I was like so excited. And it was going to be one of those, feather in the hat kind of portfolio pieces, right? That you're just like, yeah, because it was a tech company and they did cool stuff. They were, doing digital documentation and stuff like that. And I was like, yes, this is going to be fantastic. And again, it was the most I'd sold. So I was like, woo, good deal. So we went over to the client office and we were like, going to do the website kickoff meeting. We're so excited. I'm trying not to kick up my heels when I go in. I'm trying to act calm and cool and professional. And the CEO was there. It was a woman-owned business. And she was there and she said, now I want to make sure, because this is, what we do is kind of new, and at the time it was. She said, and it's sometimes hard for people to understand, so we need to make sure we really relay this concept out there through the website and the video that we're going to have on the website. And she said, so, we need to explain we do digital documentation, and so that would be new digital documentation that we help them set up, but we also go in and take all their old stuff, we'll high-speed scan it all, and then they put it into a software that has an XML catalog, so the data was very structured around all the information of these documents, so you could find it. I mean, it was pretty cool stuff, and we were actually at one of the places where they had the whole setup, because they would set up remote things in corporations and do it, and it was really cool. And she said, oh, and my horse. Yeah, it's like, is that an acronym in your industry that I don't know? Like, I'm not really sure that I know what you mean. And I could see my team too. They were kind of like, what in the world? And she said, oh, no. Like my horse. Like I have a horse and I ride dressage and he wins prizes and I just love my horse. And so I'd love to have him incorporated in this somehow. I mean, we're like, wow, okay. So we're thinking, I'm thinking really fast in my head, right? Because again, biggest job, and so I was like, I said what probably every single one of you would have said, which was, hello. That's a very creative twist. I like it. We can work with that. So fast forward a week later, we're out in the corral, dirt corral, filming this horse, going like, well, how in the world are we gonna tie this into this website? I mean, like, seriously. But I wasn't 100% sure that I couldn't do it, right? So I was like, we're gonna film this horse and we're gonna figure it out. And we did. Took lots of caffeine late nights or whatever, but we did figure it out, and we came up with a really pretty cool concept of taking, you know, video and hard materials and then digitizing. We made that horse get digitized and thrown into an e-book and then have information in XML about horses around it and stuff like that. I mean, so we used it. We used it to our advantage. And we even then wound up entering that website into a contest. An international film festival had new media, because all the flash video websites and stuff, and we won platinum with that website. We actually beat out a Disney sub-site with that. So we're like, yeah, so it was our feather in the cap, even though in that meeting when she said horse, I was just like, oh, my stomach just fell. I was like, I'm not sure how this is gonna work for us. I'm really not sure. But it did. It worked out for us, right? So my message to you is, you know, change is gonna happen, right? So it's gonna happen, and you either have to quit, which we don't want that as an option, right? So your option is you need to adapt. To whatever that change is, you just need to adapt. And so expect it, accept it, and embrace it, okay? That's my message to you, as well as one more thing, and that is you, as you're doing things and you're adapting, other people out there are also adapting. And so guess what? Now we can all go into the swimming pool with our high heels. Thank you.